Okay, good evening everyone and welcome to our regular meeting. Before we get into the agenda, there is a proclamation that I would like to sign on behalf of Council, and it's regarding the Heritage Week proclamation. Whereas the third Monday in February is recognized nationally as Heritage Day, and whereas Heritage Day and Heritage Week are a time to reflect on the achievements of past generations and to accept responsibility for protecting our heritage, and whereas our citizens should be encouraged to celebrate Newfoundland and Labrador's uniqueness and to rejoice in our heritage, and whereas in 2024, the residents of Newfoundland and Labrador will celebrate our rich and diverse history. Therefore, I, Gary Gooby, on behalf of the Town of Holyrood, do hereby proclaim Monday, February 19th, 2024 as Heritage Day and February 19th to the 25th, 2024 as Heritage Week, and call upon all citizens to celebrate the richness of our past and the promise of our future. So with that, I will now sign the proclamation. Okay, any comments? Councillor King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I'd like to say I would like to encourage all residents of Holyrood, not only Holyrood, I shouldn't say, but anybody in the Conception Bay area to if you take time to go in, there's some fantastic exhibits in there, and more so the people of Holyrood. Your history is in there, right? I mean, the people that are down there, Linda and her husband and the committee have done a fantastic job down there maintaining and cataloging all the archives from the community. And if you don't know your history, well, I mean, where are you going to go? So I would encourage everybody that get the opportunity to go in, have a look around, see the stuff there probably from your forefathers or whatever, and I think you'd have a fantastic time. They have got a lot of interesting things there. There's paintings in there that are worth in excess of $100,000, and I think it's great to see the talent. People don't realize the kind of talent that's in this community until you walk in there and actually see it yourself. So I would encourage everybody to get an opportunity to go in and have a look. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Well said. And yes, I concur. We concur. The museum is certainly a lot of work has been put into it from, excuse me, our curator, Linda Fraser, and her husband Stu, and their volunteer committee. There's theme rooms there, many, and there's thousands of different items, artifacts, and everything about the community's past. So it's truly an experience when you walk in that door, and you know you'll leave, you know, saying like to be able to. It brings you back in time. Like there's a room there with the Golden Eagle room, for example. You know, the history of the refineries, a lot of things that brings back in your memories. So, as you say, certainly encourage residents from near and far to drop by and just see what the museum is all about, because it has so much to offer. Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, with that, I will now call the meeting to order. The agenda is there before you. Can I have a motion to approve, please? I believe you have.
Yeah, there is an amendment to the agenda. Everyone received a copy. There was an additional motion that was added under planning and development for tonight.
Okay, thank you very much. So all in favor of the agenda, please raise your hands. Those against, motion is carried. All right, the minutes of the meeting from January 9th. Any errors or omissions? All good. And the special meeting of January 16th. Any errors or omissions? Good. Business arising? Good. And now we'll move on to the mayor's update. I have one item here, which I would like to briefly talk about. Last week, we said goodbye to a former colleague who served on the first town council back in 1969. Kevin Lewis, who was born and raised in Holyrood, passed peacefully away on February 1st, 2024, at the age of 81. Kevin and his late wife Peggy eventually moved to Labrador City, where they started a family and continued his teaching career. It was there he got his feet wet in the acting arena, becoming involved with the carol players. When he and his family moved back to St. John's years later, Kevin continued his acting career, performing in several short films, movies, and theater. His true love and passion of the film industry and his writing helped inspire many up-and-coming young performers in the arts and drama community. Beyond any doubt, through his outstanding talent, performers in the arts community and drama community talent, combined with his humor and sharp wit story, he was truly an icon. Just recently, Kevin was honored with the ACTRA Newfoundland Award of Excellence. On behalf of council, staff, and residents of Holyrood, we extend our sincere condolences to his son, Jonathan, and his siblings, Sadie, Eugene, Sam, and their families. May Kevin rest in peace with his wife, Peggy, and sons, Chad and Kevin Jr. I now ask that we stand for a moment of silence to pay our respects to our former council colleague and friend, Kevin Lewis. Thank you very much. Okay, that is the mayor's update. Madam CEO, is there any correspondence? No, we're good? All right, well now we'll move on to planning and development. Deputy Mayor Woodford, you're up.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry. Our Planning and Development Committee, we met on January 24th through a Zoom meeting with everyone in attendance. We reviewed 5 applications and all have been recommended for motion this evening. There was one piece of correspondence we received regarding a backlot development, that we needed further clarification with the town planner. So the committee will be going to him for that information. And there was also a proposed amendment received from the town of Portugal Cove, St. Philip's, that will include in the motions tonight. Other than that, it was a short, quick meeting. With regards, I always give an update on the town plan. We're still in the stages of reviewing the draft copy, making the changes that we discussed at the last meeting, and we're hoping to have that back and do a presentation to council within the next 30 days or so. That's the plan. So hopefully that will stay on the timeline that we had hoped for. Other than that, is there anything you'd like to add, Councillor Windsor?
No, Deputy Mayor, that's perfect.
Okay, thank you. I'll move ahead then with the motions. So first is our permit listing. Be it resolved to table and approve the attached permit listing. We have 3 permits that were issued from January 5th to February 5th, 2024, and they include permits for replacing water and sewer line, sign, and occupancy. So moved.
Okay, moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Windsor. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Contrary-minded, motion is carried.
The next motion is for 5 Godson's Road. The proposal is for a 7-unit and a 3-unit apartment building. The zoning is town centre. Be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood approve the above application in principle, subject to the town's municipal plan and development regulations. So moved.
Moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Windsor. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Those against? Motion is carried.
The next permit is for a tattoo parlor at 394 Conception Bay Highway, which is in the town centre. Be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood approve the above application in principle, subject to the town's municipal plan and development regulations. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Woodford, seconded by Councillor Windsor. Further discussion? All those in favor? Those against? Motion is carried.
The next motion is for a residential build on 23 Skibbereen Road. It's RLD 2 for the zoning. Be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood approve the above application in principle, subject to the town's municipal plan and development regulations. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Crawley. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Those against? Motion is carried.
The next motion is for a residential build as well on 32 O'Rourke's Road. The zoning is RMD. Be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood approve the above application in principle, subject to the town's municipal plan and development regulations. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor King. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Those against? Motion is carried.
The next motion is for 96 Conception Bay Highway. It's for a 9-unit seniors independent living complex. The zoning is RMD. That's the amendment that we discussed earlier. Be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood approve the above application in principle, subject to the town's municipal plan and development regulations. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Woodford, seconded by Councillor Crawley. Further discussion?
I just want to say it's great to see, that we're having so many of these units that,
Absolutely.
going up in Holyrood because, this affordable housing, it's great. Yeah, we're certainly needed for sure.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Those against? Motion is carried.
And the last motion this evening is that proposed amendment from the Town of Portugal Cove St. Phillips, St. John's Urban Regional Plan Amendment Number 10, 2023, Municipal Plan Amendments Number 19, 2023, and Development Regulations Amendment 31, 2023. Be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood has no comment on the proposed amendment from the Town of Portugal Cove St. Phillips. So moved.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Crawley. Further discussion? And I'm not going to say anything about that tonight. That's the nonsensical process. I'll leave that alone now.
Good.
Okay, all those in favor? Those against? Motion is carried.
And that's it for planning and development, Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much, Deputy Mayor and Councillor Windsor. Now we'll move on to recreation and community events. Councillor King, you're up.
Start again. The Recreation and Community Services Committee met for the first time on January the 23rd with new Director of Recreation and Community Services, Kyle Harko. In attendance were Mayor Gubby, CAO Marjorie Gibbons, Recreation Director Kyle Harco, and myself. Winter recreation programming has begun with mini movers restarting on January 28th. Forever Young, Zumba Gold, and Active for Life also resumed this week. The Crystal Carnival is scheduled for February the 15th to the 19th. Some events are now sold out, and others are nearing sellout. We look forward to seeing residents at many of our events. For more information, residents can visit www.crystalcarnival.ca. The request for quotes for Phase 1 of the softball field upgrades has been released, with a closing date of February the 23rd at 4 p.m. This phase will include the civil work only, which involves the field extension and fence removal and replacement. Other elements of the field upgrade, such as lighting, will be presented in a separate RFP due to the nature of the funding. The full RFQ package is available at www.holyrood.ca. Work is also ongoing for our Easter and summer programming. Squidfest dates have been set for July the 17th to the 21st, 2024. Information will be communicated to residents as soon as it's ready. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that update, Councillor King. Any other questions or comments?
I guess I just want to address, because I know there were some responses to that RFP that went out, and with regards to the funding, trying to make it a little bit more clearer to the residents that responded with regards to the lighting, because a lot of people that use that field want the lighting up there. And sometimes when we're going out looking for funding, it's specific to certain things that are done that are outlined in that funding program. So for this funding program, unfortunately, the lighting would not be able to be covered under that funding program. Didn't qualify, absolutely. So just to make it clear to everyone out there, it's not that we don't want the lighting included, but for this first phase with the funding that's available that we have, or that we're hoping to have, that we have, then that's for that piece of it. And for phase 2, we will continue to look for funding programs for the lighting. So just to clear that up.
And if I could also add, that funding is under the gas tax, am I correct? Which means it's not a budget item, so it's 100% covered by the federal government, the gas tax authority. And that, that makes sense to get the extension done on the field first, get that piece of work done, and then, of course, we'll be hopefully ready to move forward with the next phase, which will be the lighting.
We're not overlooking that.
Yeah. Okay, we're all good? That is great news. Okay, now we'll move on to infrastructure and public works. Councillor Windsor and Councillor King.
Thank you, Mayor. It's a really good clarification on the lighting. I think a few of us were ready to jump in there and then help explain that, because I think it is really important for the residents to understand it. We all want that. Yes. We all want that, right? At the right time, with the right funding opportunity to minimize the cost to taxpayers Holyrood. Our committee met on January 25th with the Mayor, CAO, and Director. My colleague, unfortunately, was absent, but we caught up with the minutes afterward, and we're aligned. The focus of that meeting was really around our upcoming major projects, improvement projects that you've all heard us talk about here before, the different funding opportunities, water and sewer. But just refreshing on where we are with those files and making sure that we're on track and moving forward with actual implementation this year. So it's very exciting. For example, the new water tank. You might remember that we split the scope by discipline from civil and mechanical, and staff have met with municipal affairs about the scope, and we are working toward the civil work starting this year. Additionally, there is a potential federal funding opportunity there available that staff are running down, where projects that are live but not enacted for a 2 to 3 year period, where cost estimates they've seen in the supply chain have increased, and there's some criteria around that. So don't want to commit to saying that we qualify, but staff are working that issue, and that will be great if we're able to obtain some additional assistance on an already provincially and federally funded project, not wholly funded by Holyrood as it is, right? So that's the water tank. Water, Salmon Line water main extension. There's also a project that's scheduled to begin this year. You may recall Englobe Engineering as the engineering company of record, and Mars Construction will be implementing. So we're looking forward to that. Like to say to people, we're all on a well in Holyrood, and it's great to see us finding opportunities to expand and improve clean, reliable drinking water for all residents. There's that project. And the third project is a sewer system upgrade. So with this one, engineering is ongoing, and it's a phased approach to the project, and this phase is going to focus on our treatment plant. I think it's very important that we address that. It wasn't long ago that we experienced some issues down there that staff had to intervene and rectify. We do want to make a longer term improvement here and an investment to improve that situation. So the engineering is phase one, and that one is also a project whereby we may be able to run down additional federal opportunities for funding. Okay. We did talk about the softball field, phase 1 and 2 as well. I won't talk any further because I think it's been addressed sufficiently. Exciting to say that we have taken delivery of the new dump truck plow sander unit. So I'm hoping we won't have to use it, because I would like winter to be over, just like all of you. But you know, staff have worked very hard. You know, when we let that tender, we approved the funding in the budget, made the order, we've received it, inspected it, made sure it's all in compliance. So a lot of stuff has happened. A lot of work has been done by staff to bring that dream to reality and replace our aging asset infrastructure and give the public works staff the right tools for the job. So watch for that around town. You'll see that soon. And last but not least, I guess a couple of special projects that public works and staff are working on. That's the asset management planning and also the capital improvement planning. And the target there, we want to have some drafts available for committee review. Vision target end of the first quarter, likely the start of the second quarter. So when the director brings that forward to committee, we'll review it, pose our questions, probably some adjustments, and following that, that'll come back to all of council for their review and input. That's it for us. Do you have any questions? Thank you.
A lot of good projects ready to get moving under Public Works this year, so it's great to see. Okay, now we'll move on to Economic Development. Deputy Mayor Woodford, you're up.
So the Economic Development Committee, we met on January 15th with everyone in attendance. The number of applications we reviewed was 1, which was sent to Planning and Development. We did have 2 inquiries, no application, but that's not unusual for us to receive something like that. And, you know, they need some information from us. We need some information from them. So it's going to be a back and forth with the committee for a little while until we get things figured out, and then they'll put in an application to move forward based on that information. The other update is the applications for the summer student programs have gone in for the town's rec committee and the marina, so we're just waiting to hear on those approvals. There are tourism and trail plan funding programs, or funding programs that will hopefully we can cover under tourism and trail plan. that we will continue to pursue. We're hoping to have some more information on that for the next public meeting. And other than that, we also discussed OHI and how we can implement some new strategies for engagement with our OHI committee and with the town. There are, of course, other files that we're not going to bring forward tonight because there's nothing to update. They're still in progress. But other than that, that's it for our Economic Development Committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions, comments? No? Okay. Now we'll move on to public safety. Councillor King, you're on deck.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. For the public safety tonight, I'm going to go through the public safety, and then I'm going to go in to cover some of the points that came from the Small Town Advisory Committee, and I've discussed it with the CAO, because a lot of the points that are in the public safety are some of the points that we discussed during the Small Town Advisory meeting. Anyway, our public safety meeting, we held that on the 30th of January, and those people in attendance was the mayor, our CAO, our fire chief, and myself. Some of the points that we covered, we discussed the new rescue vehicle. That rescue vehicle is still on schedule to be delivered to the Town of Holyrood in September. So there's no change in that one. There's a fire position, or a firefighter position, that's going to be filled down there because the chief moved up one, and somebody else is going to move into the position, and that's going to be done through an internal competition, and also through an internal committee to select who the person is. We discussed the Brigus Junction fire protection agreement, and the fire chief has concerns, and we're going to discuss those concerns and make sure that this agreement and the agreement for Brigus Junction, and also for the other two agreements as well, we're going to review them all to make sure that we're not stretching ourselves too thin, right? Our main focus here is the protection of the residents of Holyrood, and if all of these can be done, well then of course we will do it, but we will only do it on the recommendations of the fire chief and the fact that it does not expose the Town of Holyrood to undue risk. So once we sort that out, we'll definitely get back to council and to the residents to let them know what the decision was. The training ground, we've been talking about the collaboration grant now for some time. That grant was put out this week, and unfortunately out of the 7 municipalities that were lucky, we weren't one of them. So we are going to look at other options. Okay, it's not off the table. The fire training facility will move forward. We just got to figure out, how many more piggy banks that we got to beat up to get the money. Okay, road safety. I know Councillor Windsor discussed it in the past, and with our CEO, we're going to figure out exactly the chain of the chain of command, or the chain of response when people find something on the road, whether it be a pothole or whatever. Okay, people are out on social media, and social media is a fantastic platform to get the word out. But it's only good enough with amongst the people that are on social media. Okay, if you want the pothole fixed, then the people on social media are not going to go up and fix the pothole. It has to go through council, or it has to go through infrastructure and public works, and the Department of Transport. So that's going to be sorted out as well. The RCMP did a presentation just before Christmas with regards to scams and crime and everything else. We're going to continue that into 2024. And what we're going to do is every quarter we're going to get the RCMP in and do a presentation, and we will make that well advised beforehand. But I also want to say for residents, if you have a suggestion of what they would like to see covered in the presentation, feel free to send us an email, and we will do everything possible to make sure that gets into the presentation as well. Emergency preparedness, we talked about that one, and we are going to try to move forward on updating. Most of it is already done, and we're going to also try to initiate an exercise in the spring, summer to make sure that those articles that we have in a preparedness in a preparedness document actually works on. It's great to have it on paper, but taking it off the paper and then putting it out into the field is a whole different story. The last one with regards to public safety is speed cameras. I know there's a pilot project ongoing for certain, like Mount Pearl and St. John's, and we're also going to see if there's a possibility that we could be included into this pilot project, because we do have speeders here. Speeding through the town of Holyrood has been a constant thorn in everybody's side when it comes to public safety. So if we can be part of that pilot project, then absolutely we will. Okay, so that's it for the public safety one. If anybody has any questions or points or concerns or whatever. If not, I'll move into the Small Town Advisory Committee update, and that was held on the 17th of January via Zoom. And some of the other points that were in there as well. One of the things that came up, that there is a very strong possibility in 2024 that the number of RCMP officers for Newfoundland will increase. And I mean, there's other municipalities as well are always, screaming out for more policing and stuff like that, and we're no different. Where these RCMP officers, if they show up where they're going, nobody knows right now. Hopefully some of them will come to the beautiful detachment here in Holyrood. Fire Protection Service, with regard, that was also discussed, and in particular municipalities that service the Trans-Canada Highway and other areas outside of the community. And we are a prime candidate for that because we do service the Trans-Canada Highway, I think, between Salmon Airline and Butterpot Park. And we also service half of the Witless Bay line. And we do service, Deer Park and Vinland Road and those places. So if there's any funding that comes available, we should be one of the top of the list to get a few extra dollars. Housing and the climate crisis, that came up, and these things affect smaller communities like Holyrood, and just as much as it affects St. John's, Mount Pearl, and these other places. So municipalities are still out there banging on the drum, trying to find funding and trying to have affordable housing for people. I just jumped back to when they made the announcement. Out of the seven places, or the 7 municipalities that received funding, 3 of those municipalities got funding for an enforcement officer. And I know we discussed it here before because we discussed it already. But communities are cooperating to, instead of having an enforcement officer, for example, for the town of Holyrood, the enforcement officer would cover the town of Holyrood, Harbour Main, Avondale, or whatever. So that's the kind of things when these collaboration grants, hopefully if they come back out again in 2024, we might be lucky enough to get it. And the last one for that one is the bulk garbage and garbage collection. That has been a hot topic in all the municipalities, and we're no different. One of the things that they're going to try to figure out is bulk garbage, right? Because the way they have it set up now, they're still not 100% sure that, me phoning St. John's and saying, listen, I got a pile of stuff out on the side of the road that needs to be picked up, is going to actually be a good idea, and is it going to work? Because I could put my stuff out on Monday, and Councillor Windsor could call the same place again on Wednesday, and Councillor King could call on Thursday. So they have to try to figure out how they're going to do this. It's going to be effective and economical, right? Do you want to be sending the garbage truck to Holyrood every second or third day to pick up garbage? So there's a lot of stuff that came out, and as things become more and more clear, I will definitely make sure that everybody is aware. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Great update. Any questions, comments? All right, if not, we'll move to communications. Councillor Crowley.
Good evening, everyone. Communications didn't have a chance to meet, but I did want to give a little update. Because of some of the communications that's been happening through social media, I just want to remind everyone of the process that we've been following since we came onto term. We started with our internal policies. So we've had some questions about where our communications plan went, because people know that we went through the process to create a communications plan. And what we were given when we came into term was a wonderful step plan of how to implement a communications plan and how to implement the policy. So we took that, we did our internal, we looked at all the internal guidelines, we developed a policy, it went to legal, it had to be vetted, it came back, it had to go to municipalities to check to make sure that it aligned, came back, we had to implement it. So we ratified it. Once it was adopted, we ended up having to train everyone, so we had to do a training session for everyone involved, which would be inside the town, staff, council, everyone, and that was a top-down approach. So people who are emailing councilors, mayor directly through personal means and personal formats, this is not what our internal policy states. We are trying to communicate properly and making sure that we're following the protocols and aligning ourselves with what is proper through Municipalities Act as well. Not that we can't be communicated with. However, in terms of councilors or staff, you have to recognize that we are a one entity and that we are representing the town and therefore should be accessed using our town emails and through the website. Not necessarily our personal contacts, messaging, Facebook, whatever it is. After doing that, that took almost a year and a half to get that policy in place, train in, make sure everyone's implemented, and work through that. So we're working very hard to try to follow. Now we're working on our external portion, and it's going to take just as long, and probably longer, because you're looking at stakeholders, businesses, residents. We need to find out what's the point of communication, how people want to communicate, and all the different options there are. And then, of course, we want to go through the choices. We have to figure out where to hold at. If we create a database, we need to make sure the database is secured, that it can't be hacked. There's so much involved. I don't know if people really appreciate how much goes into making sure that the residents and businesses are secure and ensure that we're getting the information out. So the best we can do right now is through our website and our town social media, which is then monitored and checked off and make sure we're getting out the proper information. So I've seen things pop up, and I've been contacting myself, and like, you know, the lights that you mentioned, the RFP going out for softball field was only one example. Some issues with people feeling about the Crystal Carnival planning was another issue that I saw pop up and are coming in. But there are the proper ways to get in touch with us and the proper ways to go about it. And there's many things that go into the decisions of what's planned, when it's planned, where it's planned, and how, that, you know, throwing it out there and putting a blame game on anyone is not working. So we really, I'm hoping, as Councillor King says, there's hundreds of people listening right now. But either way, the minutes will be up, but please, we're trying to follow our communications policies and plans, and we're doing our best at that, and we would ask the residents to be patient and follow the proper protocols as well. Seem to keep standing up and saying the same things, but it's warranted again. I don't know if anyone else has anything else to add?
I just want to say one thing about that. That's okay to add on to what? Absolutely. No, just to add on to what you said, you know, while we do have some residents out there that are not using the proper form, there were residents with regards to the lights that did respond on our own posts that we had put out for the RFP on the town's social media page. So, you know, some people are, some people aren't, but, you know, we're able to respond, or somebody within the town is able to respond to a remark or a question when it comes in either through our webpage or through our Facebook page. Whereas on other social media sites, that is not part of our communications policy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you, Deputy Mayor. Absolutely, we're trying to make sure that we're not spreading miscommunication and that we are answering everyone's questions, and that's the way to do it. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, great update on communications and certainly moving forward with that. Any other questions, comments? Well said. Well said, yep. Okay, with that now, we'll pay some bills. Corporate Service and Administration, Councillor Crowley.
Up again. We met on February 1st. Councillor King, myself, Director Marie Searle, and our CAO, Marjorie Gibbons. We did have a review of our financial status, which was a fantastic plan to do at this point. We just started the new year. We just brought in our new budget. So we wanted to look at revenue and expenditures and to make sure that they're aligned, and what we had planned is what's going so far. Everything is great. We're in really good standing. Our tax bills have been sent out, and slowly but surely that's coming in. And as part of my communication side, we want to ensure that residents realize too that the e-services is on our website. There's lots of different options. You can pay by Visa, but again, just note that there is a 2.3 surcharge, so that the taxpayers in town is not charged for the person's surcharge under Visa. We have payment options of post-dated checks from now until August. You have EMT options of monthly payments from now until August, or paying a full EMT. So many options. We've had seniors and GSI recipients come in and obtained their 20% discount, which is fantastic that people are availing of this service. I think it's really important to offer the break to those who need it and deserve it. So keep paying your taxes, please, and we'll keep paying bills. We did make one change to our policy, in that we're going to have a 60-day turnaround with our invoicing going forward. Many invoices are still coming in, and we're still missing invoices from 2023. Which surprises me, because as a business, you would hope to get paid. But for whatever reason, there's some invoices that haven't come in yet, and so we're going to put in a 60-day turnaround now so that we can have it come in and go out, and we're not holding on. So there's some things we can't close off the books from 2023 until we get those invoices in and are able to pay them. You mentioned your dump truck, shiny new toys, very exciting. And that came up in our meeting because we're getting the signs to put on it, to make sure the proper signage is there, the keep back. There was undercoating that needed to be done to the dump truck. And then once all of that's done, the insurance will put on her and it'll be ready to go. So they're excited. No update on our loan statuses that we already passed and approved from 2023, budget 2023. There's no changes there. And I have a couple of motions, unless Councillor King has anything else he would like to add.
No, Madam, I do not.
Okay. So, be it resolved, the accounts tabled in the amount of $248,893.46, check numbers 45442 to 4542, and D3827 to D3873 be approved for payment from the general account. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Crowley, seconded by Councillor King. Further discussion?
This general payments coming and going out.
Okay, all those in favor? Those against? Motion is carried.
Be it resolved, the Town of Holyrood appoint Mitch Moran as the Appeals Commissioner for 2024. As Commissioner, he represents the town at the property appeals requested by residents. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Crowley, seconded by Councillor Sadie King. Further discussion?
Mr. Moran has been our appeals counselor for a number of years now. So he is under our contract right now, so we just need to make sure that there's a motion, and he will stand in lieu of the town staff on property appeals.
Okay. All right, has been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Those against? Motion is carried.
So being part of the small town advisory committee, be it resolved, the Town of Holyrood approved travel expenses totaling $690.14 for Councillor Bruce King to attend the small communities meetings in Clarenville. This is a 2-day session where small towns hold discussions on common issues and try to find solutions. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Crowley, seconded by, sorry, Deputy Mayor.
You were just
for
thinking of
clarification.
Conflict?
Councillor King have to read the roll?
Because it's within his duties of, it didn't happen before.
Yeah, it's part of his duties.
Yeah, he's
anyway.
not
Yeah.
gaining
It's not a
benefit from
personal
it.
thing.
It's
Yeah.
all just travel
Okay,
expenses.
just wanted to
There's
have
no
that
benefit.
clarified.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was moved.
Moved by Councillor
who's
Crowley
sec-
and Deputy
seconded
Mayor.
by the Deputy Mayor. Okay,
Yeah.
further discussion.
No, so we decided that this would be a big benefit to the town of Holyrood because there are common issues, as Councillor King has brought forward earlier, and to come up with common solutions. And you look at things like those community collaboration grants, this
Yeah.
is where they stem from, are these sessions and these meetings, so they are very important. Good value. Good value. Yep.
And Councillor King is great at taking lots of notes at these sessions and meetings. Okay, with that, all those in favor, those against, motion is carried.
And finally, this is really exciting. Be it resolved, the town of Holyrood accept the multi-year capital works 2023 to 2026 funding approved by the provincial government in the amount of $908,060. This funding will be used to offset the costs of a new community center for the town. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Crowley, and I wonder who's going to second it. Councillor Sadie King. Your face just lights up, Councillor King.
This was obviously brought up before. We talked about just in 2023. We approved the money for the design. A detailed design of the community center with the hopes that we were going to get this funding, fingers crossed, and we did. So it's an exciting improvement. And again, taking to social media, going, where's the new community center we were all promised? It takes time and obviously a lot of money. We have the money now, or a chunk of it. So that's really exciting.
It's a very ambitious and exciting project well underway.
Yeah.
So we're all beaming with
I know.
with excitement
Talk
on
about
this.
good news report.
Because it's something that we know the whole community really identifies, and it will benefit everyone of all ages, from tots to seniors and everybody in between.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's a multi-purpose facility, and yeah, it's good news. All right, any other questions or comments? If not, all those in favor, those against, motion is carried.
We have a healthy bank book balance of $2,842.60.
In the black. Okay, thank you for that update, Councillor Crowley. And now we'll do new business. Do the go around, starting with Deputy Mayor Woodford.
Nothing for me this evening.
Nothing, Councillor King.
I just got one thing. I just want to, because the by-election will probably be over at our next meeting, I would like to wish all three of them good luck on their endeavors, but I also want to take into consideration one in particular, and that's Jared Trask, because he's young. And Councillor King can also attest that we were to the convention in October in St. John's, and a lot of the people that were there, for example, when they were getting their awards, they were 25, 30, 35 years. One gentleman, I mean, he had 40 years on council, right? And when you talk to people, one of the biggest problems is to try to encourage young people to become part of council, right? So anyway, I wish all three of them the very best, and I can't wait to see who's going to be in that chair down at the end of the table. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor King. Councillor Crowley.
Just a little bit self-serving, but it's Teacher Appreciation Week next week as well as Heritage Week. So I just want to say thank you, especially in our town, all the teachers who take care of all our little ones every day.
Thank you very much. Councillor King. Nothing? All right, you can wrap it up, Councillor Windsor. Nothing at all. think it's going to be a great and productive year on many fronts. Okay, date of the next meeting is March the 5th at 6 p.m. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Moved by Councillor Crawley, seconded by Councillor King. All those in favour? Meeting stands adjourned.